The FDA's top vaccine and gene therapy regulator left his position this week after just over 2 months.
Vinay Prasad, a longtime critic of the COVID-19 pandemic response and vaccine, was appointed to lead the agency's Centre for Biologics Evaluation and Research by Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. back in May. But since then, he's received criticism from some on the right over his approach to drug approvals and his past support for Democratic politicians.
Right-wing influencer Laura Loomer took to X last week and slammed Prasad in a lengthy post for being a, quote, leftist saboteur and undermining Trump and RFK's Make America Healthy Again agenda.
But it appears to be his handling of a new therapeutic for a rare genetic disease that led to Prasad resigning in the end. The FDA, under his leadership, asked pharmaceutical company Sarepta to pause distribution of its gene therapy called Elevidys, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, after 3 patients who were taking the new drug died, according to Reuters.
Now, the company refused to do so, and then the criticism began pouring in. Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum wrote on X, more on the man destroying the president's legacy for helping patients. The FDA's Vinay Prasad is standing with progressive health policies. And then in an op-ed in Real Clear Health, describes Prasad as a, quote, one-man death panel, accusing him of having contempt for Sarepta.
On Monday, the FDA lifted the hold on the drug for patients who could still walk, but the damage seemed to be done. By Wednesday morning, Sarepta's shares were up more than 10% in pre-market trading. A Health and Human Services spokesperson confirmed Prasad's departure in a statement, saying, quote, Dr. Prasad did not want to be a distraction to the great work of the FDA in the Trump administration and has decided to return to California and spend more time with his family. We thank him for his service and the many important reforms he was able to achieve in his time at FDA.
Reporter for Heatmap News, Matthew Zaitlin, said this of Prasad's ouster on X. Amazing story about how Washington works. A COVID contrarian doctor gets a big FDA role, is skeptical of a drug for a rare disease, and then Rick Santorum and Laura Loomer pop up to call him a lib, and poof, he's gone. And that is basically a summation of what happened here. Vinay Prasad is someone I think known to a lot of our viewers. We cited him quite frequently during COVID. I believe we interviewed him on the show. You know, I said vaccine skeptical, but he is not skeptical that vaccines work in a great number of cases and should be a good choice for people. He was pushing back on some of the vaccine requirements or recommendations for young people or otherwise healthy people. I found him an interesting commentator on health-related issues. I don't always totally agree with him, but it's well-informed. It's not crank crazy stuff like that. It's good, interesting stuff. I thought he was a great addition to the FDA. And he is in the past been otherwise a progressive Democrat, like RFK Jr. himself, who was a Democrat, who ran as a Democrat and supported Democratic policies. So for Laura Loomer to come in here and say, wow, it's amazing that he supported Bernie Sanders years ago, he's undermining somehow RFK's agenda. RFK was a supporter of Democratic policies until he joined the coalition. So that's insanity and nonsense. What I suspect is really going on here, Niall, is that a drug company was mad that Vinay Prasad was standing in the way of his of their profits, and I don't know. I don't have any information, so I can't. I'm just speculating, but I wonder if someone at this company or a PR firm hired by this company said, "Oh, let's dig up some old tweets of his and see if we can get right-wing people to be mad at him and manufacture some outrage that leads to his ouster." Would not surprise me if that's what happened here, and I think that's very bad.
As a general matter, I'm not slow to take the worst possible interpretation of drug company motives or of the pharmaceutical industry generally. I think I'm skeptical of them. I am also skeptical of Laura Loomer. Now, this guy got loomered by all accounts, got painted as a left-wing Democrat. He had endorsed, as you say, or been supportive of Sanders in the past. But, like, does that matter to what he's actually doing? There's not only the fact that RFK Jr. is presumably a supporter of his, somebody who backs him and has the history that he has, but also, like, he's in a health role. What radical left Democratic policies is he purportedly implementing in that role, right, other than policies that Kennedy and, by extension, the Trump administration would presumably be supportive of.
The radical left policy that this drug, again, I don't know about the actual situation, but he is an expert, and he's saying this drug he has questions about. There are people who died taking it, and the drug company, of course, wants it,
On the market.
released and recommended to as many people as possible because that's how they make profits. I'm not against the pharmaceutical industry. I'm not against them making profits from selling drugs. I am also more in the right to try kind of mode where I would rather we allow too much than prohibit too much. It gets complicated because the thing with drugs, and actually Vinay Prasad had a great topic on this, why drugs are different than health or than food. The food category. The food category should be less regulated than the health category because the FDA for a food product is just saying, we're not recommending this to you. We're just saying it's not dangerous enough that we're stopping you from taking it. We're not recommending it to you. We're not subsidizing and paying for it. We're just saying it's safe enough that you can take it. With a drug, it's different. When they approve a drug, they're saying this is going to be recommended to you. This is going to be paid for by a government-derived health thing. So the drug products have to meet a higher level of safety because they're also going to be subsidized and recommended, whereas food products don't.
Right.
And that was an interesting analysis. I hadn't quite considered that before.
Right.
So I really liked him in this role, and I think this is the same. The Laura Loomer kind of outrage over, oh my God, you used to be a lib, is so, I'm not supposed to swear on the show anymore, so something selective that it makes me furious. Like, again, RFK was a former Dem. Donald Trump's former Dem. We had, like, Tulsi Gabbard, who I don't know if she likes or dislikes. I think she's more hawkish, so she probably doesn't like Tulsi Gabbard. She's probably like, Tulsi Gabbard is still a socialist or something. It's just so selective. It's stupid, and we gotta be past that. It's very unhealthy. The level of influence and control she has for some reason is insane to me. This is a woman who once chained herself to, I think, Facebook headquarters.
Facebook or Google, I can't remember, to protest her own barring from one of those platforms. I mean, she has driven several people out of the administration now and has taken credit for doing so. And I find someone like her having that level of influence pretty disturbing, among many other disturbing things of the Trump administration.
I want smart, sound, health FDA decisions made by open-minded people who are not beholden to the industry, who are not hostile to the industry either, who are just trying to make good decisions on which drugs we have enough information about that they should be available to people. I default toward making them more available, which is actually a concern I had about RFK, because for a while he was, has led crusades against the pharmaceutical industry and their profits. So I don't want to be overly restrictive, but I also don't want, them paying for, again, I have no actual knowledge that they did this, but arranging hit campaigns, orchestrated, cancellation, Twitter mob type stuff based on past support for Democrats. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's very dangerous, if that is happening.
If that's what's going on. Maybe of her own volition, she started to search for his old tweets and old things he said about.
Just because she wanted to.
Again, it's criticism of Trump from long ago. J.D. Vance called Trump
America's Hitler, or at one stage.
Is she going to do a tweet thread about how he should be thrown out of the administration for that? I don't think so.
Presumably not.
Very stupid, very silly, very selective. We will have more Rising right after this. Stay with us.